In the late 1990s, the WWF was riding high during the Attitude Era. Austin 316, The Rock, DX, they dominated the main event scene, but behind the chaos of Stone Cold beer baths and Vince McMahon screw jobs, the WWF attempted to introduce its own version of high-flying action, the light heavyweight division. So what happened? Why did it rise? And why did it fall just as quickly? Let's dive in. The concept of a light heavyweight title in the WWF wasn't new. Back in the 1980s, WWF promoted the Junior Heavyweight Championship in collaboration with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Stars like Tatsumi Fujinami and Dynamite Kid carried the title, but by the 90s that belt was long gone. Fast forward to 1997, WCW was taking the wrestling world by storm with its cruiserweight division. Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, and Chris Jericho wowed wrestling fans weekly with breathtaking, fast-paced matches. Vince McMahon and the WWF took notice. In response, they launched the Light Heavyweight Championship in late 1997. Their goal? To replicate WCW's cruiserweight success, but they faced one big problem: star power, or a lack thereof. In December of 1997, the WWF held a tournament to crown the first ever light heavyweight champion. Taka Michinoku, a standout from Japan, emerged victorious by defeating Brian Christopher at D-Generation X in Your House. Taka's unique style and energy set him apart, and for a while, he was the face of the division. He defended the title with solid matches that showcased what the division could offer. But while Taka shined in the ring, there was a glaring issue. WWF didn't have the roster depth to truly support a division. Most challengers were unknown to the mainstream audience, and the lack of consistent storylines really hurt its momentum. Meanwhile, over on WCW, their cruiserweight division thrived. Stars like Rey Mysterio, Dean Malenko, and Ultimo Dragon weren't just incredible athletes, they had personalities, rivalries, and consistent TV time. Fans tuned in to watch them every week on Monday Night Nitro. In contrast, WWF treated the light heavyweight division as an afterthought. Matches were relegated to Sunday Night Heat or pre-show slots, and while the main event scene flourished with Austin, The Rock, and The Undertaker, the light heavyweights were largely ignored. By 1999, the light heavyweight division was barely hanging on. Taka Michinoku lost the title to Christian, who dropped it to Goldberg. Yes, Goldberg, a parody of WCW's Goldberg. This title change symbolized the WWF's complete disregard for the division. Rather than focusing on athleticism, the belt became a comedy prop. The final nail in the coffin came when S.A. Rios won the championship in early 2000. By this point, WWF barely acknowledged the belt and it quietly disappeared by mid-2001.
Do you hate the light heavyweight championship? I know you do.
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah. That was their, trying to match WCW with their light heavyweight division. Yeah, I hated it.
Freshen myself up on that moment. How did that feel for you after all these years of being a jobber, but then you're on television, you're in the job squad, and you win the light heavyweight championship on Monday Night Raw? That must have been incredible.
Little kid's dream come true, man. I mean, you win the World Series, you win the Super Bowl. I won the light heavyweight title, brother. I literally, if you remember, I was looking at it like this, and when I held it up backwards. I was showing everybody the back of the belt. The belt was behind me. I was like, man, what can I do now? But yeah, now I literally went in Vince's office and thanked him, and Shane and everybody cried my eyes out, man. It was a little kid's dream.
That's
and
awesome.
like the next day, they were all going, "What the hell?" And they're looking at the side of my face, and they're going, "Light heavyweight. You slept with the belt, didn't you?" Like the imprint.
I've always been fascinated why the cruiserweight thing seemed to work so well for WCW, but the light heavyweight thing never really takes off for the WWF.
Never.
You got to see both. Why do you think it worked one place and it didn't work another?
So I think I'm going to go back to timing's everything. And when Eric and Nitro and the branding and the cruiserweight, let me ask you a hypothetical. Would the cruiserweight belt gotten over as well as it did if you took the luchadors out of it? I don't think so. I think the luchadors help brand not just that belt, but the product. But I think they were integral into, the cruiserweights, man, all these cool moves. And did you see Psychosis do this? And did you see Ray do that? I think in the DNA of the product, of the brand, was the cruiserweight title. And you immediately thought, probably subconsciously, you thought, oh, wow, Rey Mysterio, Psychosis, whatever other luchador kind of mixed in there. And in the WWE brand, you're going to lead front and center with, you always thought of Hulk Hogan's catchphrases: say your prayers, take your vitamins, the big guy dropped the leg. So you didn't really think of a cool move. Then you get into, the 90s era, and the work rate became a little bit more, but it was still the promo and the look and the persona, and the Hitman's got his glasses and all that. WWF, I never attempted to brand their product they never focused on in-ring. I'm not saying up to this point, I'm not saying modern day, but up to this point, Conrad, would you say WWF focused on in-ring quality stuff as a tip-top priority? Yes, they did, but I just don't think it's a tip-top priority.
So, why did the light heavyweight division fail? Ultimately, it came down to a lack of investment. WWF never prioritized the division or built a deep roster of stars. Instead, they used it as a half-hearted response to WCW, and it faded away as quickly as it arrived. But while the division may be forgotten, its brief existence paved the way for something greater. When the WWF acquired WCW in 2001, they inherited the Cruiserweight Championship, which would go on to thrive for years. And let's not forget stars like Jeff Hardy, who competed in the light heavyweight division, became some of the biggest names in wrestling history. The WWF Light Heavyweight division may not have reached the heights of its WCW counterpart, but it holds a unique place in wrestling history. It's a reminder of the risk promotions take to innovate and what happens when they fall short. What do you think? Could the division have succeeded with better booking and more investment? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more wrestling history deep dives.